As if Trump's bank fraud trial wasn't already in enough trouble, it's worse now. As you might know, Trump is on trial in New York over allegations that he committed bank fraud, specifically that he artificially inflated the value of his properties and assets.
I have to go before a rogue judge as a continuation of Russia, 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 as a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. And I don't think the people of this country are going to stand for it. This is a disgrace. And you ought to go after this attorney general because she's turning off everybody from coming in.
Now, when Wallace called Trump's witnesses a, quote, murderer's row of experts, Chris Kise objected, and Wallace said it was a baseball reference, not the more chilling references we've heard in other courtrooms to actual murder.
He's already got a weak case, and he's not expected to get out of this one very easily, but his accountant, Weisselberg, has just made things much, much worse than they already were. And what did he do that was so bad? He lied on the stand.
Tonight, the man who spent decades helping run Donald Trump's family business, Weisselberg, could be on the verge of pleading guilty for the second time. This time to a perjury charge, we are told. The 76-year-old was the chief financial officer of the Trump Organization for decades. He went to jail at Rikers for about 100 days last year. That was for his role in running a 15-year tax fraud scheme at the Trump Organization. Now, tonight, there is new reporting from the New York Times and confirmed by CNN that Weiselberg is in talks to potentially plead guilty to a perjury charge, this time related to Trump's civil fraud trial.
When the New York Times broke the news last week that Donald Trump's former CFO, Weisselberg, was negotiating with the Manhattan DA's office to plead guilty to perjury in Trump's civil fraud case, well, it raised questions about whether this might be causing Judge Arthur Engoron, the judge presiding over that case, to delay his final ruling as to whether Donald Trump will potentially shell out $370 million or more for committing fraud. Today, we kind of got an answer. In an email sent on Monday, Judge Engoron wrote to Trump's lawyers about the Times reporting and suggested this plea deal might change the timing of Judge Engoron's decision.
So news broke that Weisselberg was secretly negotiating a plea deal with the Manhattan District Attorney. When the news broke, the judge in the bank fraud trial asked both the New York Attorney General and the Trump legal team to respond. It was reported by the New York Times that Weisselberg had admitted to the DA that he had lied under oath to the AG's office. So the judge in the bank fraud case, Judge Engoron, wanted to hear if either the AG's office or the Trump legal team had any response to Weisselberg's guilty plea. By the way, I'm recording this on Wednesday morning, so Trump's lawyers have until later today to respond to the judge. By the time you watch this video, that response will probably already be out there somewhere. But prior to this revelation, the judge was expected to issue a final order sometime this week or next. As I mentioned, Trump was already not expected to get away with this one. He is facing a penalty of around $250 million, give or take. Could be less, but could be more. The fact that his accountant lied under oath doesn't exactly do Trump any favors. At best, Trump could have expected to be found guilty, but have to pay a smaller financial penalty. At worst, he would have been found guilty, but have to pay over $250 million. Now it's looking more and more like the worst case scenario will likely play out or close to it. Crucially, the judge is arguing that falsehoods from Trump's accountant, of all people, could call the entire Trump defense into question. The judge wrote, quote, "Although the Times article focuses on the size of the Trump Tower penthouse, his testimony on other topics could also be called into question. I may also use this as a basis to invoke falsus in uno. I do not want to ignore anything in a case of this magnitude." Falsus in uno, by the way, means false in one thing, false in everything. In other words, Weisselberg is an unreliable witness, so his testimony is entirely unreliable. You can't trust anything he says. All of this is on top of a few other legal losses for Trump. He was just ordered to pay $83 million to E. Jean Carroll in a defamation case that he just lost. He's appealing the ruling, but he needs to still put up that $83 million before he can do that. He's also not expected to win the appeal. And a federal appeals court just ruled that Trump does not have immunity from prosecution on charges related to the 2020 plot to overturn the election. He is expected again to appeal this ruling, taking it all the way to the Supreme Court. Of course, he is still the Republican frontrunner for president, which says some pretty unflattering things about our American culture as well as our American judicial and political systems. Oh well. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my podcast, Modern Context. Thanks.